Chapter 5. The capacity to be alone is the capacity to love. In order to have a healthy, fulfilling relationship, one must first be able to embrace being alone, because if you can't embrace being alone to be totally comfortable with the idea of being alone, then your ability to genuinely love will likely be inhibited by the desperation of not being alone. Unfortunately, so many people pursue relationships from a sense of loneliness, which is why so many people end up being unhappy, because there are conflicts which cause relationships to fail or at least remain in a perpetual state of tension. This is because much of what we call love has nothing to do with love at all, but has much more to do with fear of being alone or lonely. So much of what we call love is really some form of attachment or codependency, which leads to all kinds of problems, tension, conflict, and so on. All of that is coming from our inability to embrace being alone, or in other words, it could be coming from a desperation not being alone. When we're coming from that mindset, we are more likely to make poor decisions, specifically regarding choosing a partner. In some cases, we may be so desperate not to be alone that we would just get involved with anyone who shows interest without really considering whether they are compatible or not. And so, we may end up with someone who doesn't truly respect or appreciate us. But even when we are a little more selective and we get involved with anyone who seems to be a good match, our fear and insecurity can still have a negative impact on the relationship, and this is because fear obscures love, it inhibits it, but we don't tend to recognize that because culturally we've been conditioned to mistake fear for love. Fear expresses itself in various ways, sometimes as jealousy, attachment, possessiveness, and so on, yet we've come to consider these things as expressions for love. But really, if you deeply look at them, they have nothing at all to do with love. They are all coming from fear, and they are all expressions of self-interest. In other words, these are feelings which have no consideration for the other but only for self, and that's not the way love's supposed to operate. In fact, it's quite the opposite. If we are being needy, for example, that's all about trying to get attention and affection and validation from the other. In other words, it's all about you, and the only real interest we have is regarding what we can get from them. So essentially, it's a kind of selfishness. You are not really concerned about the other person but only concerned with yourself, and I won't regard that as love. Love is not about trying to get anything, but it is about giving and sharing freely. But when we are coming from a place of fear and insecurity, all we are concerned with is ourselves. What are we getting? What is the other doing for us? Or what have we gotten from them that we now stand to lose? We are afraid of losing, so we prefer taking than giving. 22. 23. Why are we so afraid that we might lose the other? Because we are so afraid of being alone. Why are we afraid of being alone? Because we never really embraced it, so we can't stand the idea of having to be alone, and we also want to be loved. So, if fear is there, it is going to affect the entire relationship, and not at all in a positive way. When we are operating from that place of fear, everything we do is influenced by it, and so, everything we do in the relationship is selfishly motivated, even if it doesn't appear to be so. So, we might be doing all kinds of nice things for the other, giving gifts and affection and so on, and all of that may seem very selfless on the surface, but in reality, we are doing it in order to get something in return, and this becomes obvious. When we don't get what we want, we become upset because we are doing all these things for the other, but we don't get our expected results. As soon as you find yourself complaining that you do something for your partner but they don't do enough for you in return, step back and ask yourself, are you doing it out of love, which is unconditional, free and selfless? Or you are doing it just to get something from the other, which is not love but really some form of business, because anything that you do with the expectation of getting something in return is business. That's what it means to do business. You give something in order to get something. But love is about giving without seeking anything in return, and in so many relationships everyone is giving or doing something for the other not out of sincere love but in order to get something in return. So, it becomes political, which means that we are using all these strategies and mind games to control and manipulate one another in order to get what we want or to try and secure the relationship, making sure that the other doesn't leave or whatever the case may be. So again, you see that all these things have nothing at all to do with love, but it's all selfishly motivated, and that motivation is ultimately rooted in the desperation of not to be alone. So therefore it's so imperative that in order to have a healthy and truly loving relationship, we must first embrace being alone and not to depend on anyone in order to feel validated or accepted, to feel loved or to be happy. The reality is that no one can provide those things for us, no one can make you happy, no one can make you feel loved. Maybe for a little while you may feel that way, but it doesn't last because it's not coming from you. Therefore so many relationships are problematic. People are always complaining that their partner doesn't make them happy anymore. Well, guess what? It's not their job. Your happiness is no one else's responsibility, and if you put that responsibility on someone else, not only is that selfish and unfair, but it is going to lead to disappointments every time, and I guarantee it. The reality is that if you don't fully accept yourself, you won't ever feel fully accepted by anyone else, and if you don't genuinely love yourself, you won't feel genuinely loved, and if your happiness depends on others, you will constantly be disappointed, which means you'll often find yourself deeply unhappy. So, it's important to uncover these things within yourself, therefore it's so important to embrace being alone. The reason we don't like to be alone is because we are so dependent upon others to validate, accept and make us feel happy and loved. But when we are alone, we are faced 23. 24. With our own negative self-judgments, our own lack of self-worth, our sense of inadequacy and so on, and until we resolve all of that, it will never be resolved, not by anyone. We seem to think that the way to resolve all of that is through someone else. That's why we tend to seek out for relationships. We think that someone else is going to make us happy and feel loved, and if we are relying on someone else to do that, it never gets resolved because no one can do that for us. Someone might come along and love us, but if we don't love ourselves, that is when somewhere deep down, we feel unworthy of love, then we won't fully accept their love. It'll feel nice for a little while, but then we become suspicious of it. How come this person loves someone like me who is unworthy of love? Or because you were so dependent on them to love you, so you carry the constant fear that you might lose that love or that person, and your fear won't only cause you a great deal of personal suffering, but it'll often sabotage the relationship. Typically what happens is that when you are in a relationship with someone and you are afraid that you might lose them, you become more needy, you become overly affectionate in a desperate attempt to receive affection, but to the other it feels awkward and uncomfortable because it's not coming from love but from fear, and the other person can sense that even if they are not consciously aware of it, energetically they can sense your desperation and it feels awkward and uncomfortable. As soon as the other person senses that, they will soon begin to pull away, and when we feel them pulling away, we become more desperate and more smothering, and that alone can of course drive the other person to seek more space. It is indeed intrinsic to seek a certain amount of personal space, especially when they are being smothered, but we interpret it as if they are losing interest in us or that they are beginning to fall out of love with us. So, we become even more frightened, more clingy and more needy for attention, and that causes the other person to feel more and more uncomfortable and to seek more space. So the more insecure we are, the more desperate we behave, and the more we drive the other person away, and at some point that fear may turn to paranoia and frustration. The other, feeling smothered and suffocated, will seek out more time and space to be alone, and we begin to wonder why they are keeping away from us, perhaps even avoid us at times, or maybe not answering our calls and so on, and we start to suspect that maybe there is someone else, or maybe they are cheating on us, or else they are planning to break up with us. Why imagine all kinds of unfortunate scenarios, so we start spying and even accusing them just to see if they'll admit to anything, and of course all of that only causes the other to feel even more uncomfortable around us, which in turn causes them to seek more time and space away from us where they don't have to deal with our neediness and paranoia, and at some point it would have driven them so crazy that they just can't deal with it any longer and they do actually leave. This then proves to us that we were right all along. We had a suspicion that they might leave us one day and we were right, but what we fail to realize is that we created the very circumstances that led to it. We drove the other away because of our fear and insecurity. We created the very situation that we were afraid of. 24. 25. So again, it is very important to deal with these things within, independent of anyone else. Whatever fear and insecurity we have, whatever sense of unworthiness, unhappiness and so on, you must resolve these things within yourself. That's the only place that you can do it. Once you discover that all of this is available within, you already have the capacity to be happy and love genuinely and authentically, to accept and find value in yourself independent of anyone else. Once you face and embrace yourself fully, there's no longer any discomfort in being alone, which means there's no fear of being alone, and when there's no fear of being alone, your love is not compromised by that. This means if you are engaged in any kind of relationship with anyone, you can be more authentic and more selfless. You can love more freely, which means giving and not trying to get, and no fear of losing anything because you are not dependent upon anyone else in order to feel loved or to be happy. Once you've discovered all of that within yourself, no one can take that from you, so there's no fear of losing anything. Awakening discernments. If you can be in a relationship without feeling insecure, without being afraid or desperate, you are not going to create all the problems that arise from that. And again, most of the problems in relationships are deeply rooted in some kind of fear and insecurity, so without all that, the relationship is going to be much healthier and much more enjoyable. To be in a relationship without being insecure, there is more ease and more relaxation, it's much more enjoyable for everyone. There's no pressure, no tension, no excessive demands or expectations, and in that kind of relationship things flow very smoothly and naturally. The irony is that the more freedom there is in a relationship, the more likely the other is going to want to stick around, but the more restrictive, confining and possessive that you are, the more likely you are going to push them away. To come to that place requires a certain amount of introspection, reflection and a very strict self-observation, not saying that you must be totally alone in order to fully embrace being alone, although it does make it easier. If you are single, then you should certainly take advantage of that, use that to go within and really come to know yourself deeply and to resolve whatever resistance you have. But if you are currently in a relationship and you want to honor that relationship, then simply become aware of how much of your emotions and behavior is motivated by these unaligned fears and really work on them. That means don't make it anyone else's responsibility. Your emotions and behaviors are no one else's responsibility but yours, so own all of that and begin to examine it and work to resolve it. You don't necessarily have to give up being in a relationship to resolve these issues. In fact, relationships can offer us some of the best lessons in life, precisely because they show us the parts of us that need to be attended to. They expose our wounds, but then it's primarily our responsibility to address those areas. 25. 26. Once we begin to do that, we'll see how our relationships would transform, how they would become healthier and fulfilling. As we become more comfortable with being alone, or merely with just the idea or possibility of being alone, we no longer act out of fear and desperation. We are no longer compromising who we are, which means that we can be more authentic, and that means that our relationships can be more authentic. We can love more deeply, we can cultivate greater intimacy. We create less drama in conflicts and more easily resolve conflicts when they arise. Your relationships will always reflect your own internal psychology, so if you want a healthy and a fulfilling relationship, you must become healthy psychologically, you must find fulfillment in yourself. You must discover your own capacity for love and happiness. Then all of that will be naturally reflected in the relationship. Otherwise, if you are full of insecurity and dissatisfaction, self-judgment and unhappiness, a lack of love and worthiness, then every relationship will reflect that back to you. So whatever fear you are carrying, face it, go into it and examine it, come to understand it, and by doing so you can then release it. Remember, it all starts with you. Chapter 6. The Law of Reflection. Often, people perceive their experiences as being shaped by external forces beyond their control, rather than acknowledging their own internal power. They believe their lives are predetermined by unseen circumstances, labeling events as simply good or bad. However, what if you were told that you are the architect of your own reality? That your thoughts and mindset are the driving forces behind everything you are and everything you're not? What if you discovered that within you lies a profound power to shape your life, holding the key to unlocking true freedom and liberation? 26. 27. You may wonder, how is this possible? By embracing this chapter, you'll gain a deeper understanding of how life truly works, allowing you to effortlessly comprehend yourself and others. You'll uncover the reasons behind diverse behaviors and perspectives, unlocking a newfound empathy and insight into the human experience. Scientifically speaking, human beings are essentially clusters of energy, and our internal consciousness is reflected in everything around us. In other words, our reality is a direct manifestation of our individual energies. This means that each person is responsible for creating their own reality. When I first encountered this concept, I was skeptical, but after experimenting with it, I discovered its profound truth. Let's illustrate this with an example. Sandra, a young woman, recently experienced a painful breakup with her boyfriend due to his mistreatment. Seeking a better relationship, she quickly entered a new one, only to find herself with someone eerily similar to her ex. This phenomenon highlights the notion that our external experiences are a reflection of our internal consciousness. Sandra's reality was a manifestation of her own energy, attracting similar patterns in relationships until she shifts her internal perspective. Sandra may attribute her experiences to bad luck, but the truth lies in her internal consciousness. Her relationships are a reflection of her unhealed wounds, offering her the opportunity to confront and resolve them. As previously mentioned, relationships mirror our internal psychology. As energetic beings, we store experiences within us, which can manifest as recurring patterns. Sandra's haste in entering a new relationship without introspection and healing led her to repeat the cycle. By examining her past experiences and uncertainties, she could have broken the pattern and gained valuable insights about herself through the mirroring process. Perhaps she would have discovered that her ex-partner was a catalyst for surfacing deep-seated issues, allowing her to confront and heal from them. This self-reflection could have empowered her to recognize and address the root causes, preventing the repetition of toxic dynamics in future relationships. Often, we fail to recognize the mirror-like nature of relationships, instead craving love without understanding its true essence. We rush into partnerships without introspection, neglecting to examine the root causes of our misfortunes and discomforts. We attribute our struggles to bad luck, rather than acknowledging that we attract and reflect what we are. Relationships serve as lessons, with partners acting as mirrors and magnets, revealing our inner selves. They facilitate growth, not mere self-satisfaction. Desperation for love can lead to disappointment, as it kills the vibe. Mindfulness is crucial. A primary driver of our intense longing for love is the belief that we're unworthy of it. We seek validation from others, rather than relying on self-love. This can stem from childhood experiences, such as neglect or lack of parental affection, leaving an unquenchable void. This void fuels our desperation, leading us to seek love in misguided places. By recognizing these 27. 28. Patterns, we can begin to break free from the cycle of desperation and cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationships. The most disheartening aspect is that we often encounter individuals who are starkly opposite of our expectations, yet this is solely because they're drawn to our unhealed inner wounds. It's no coincidence that life unfolds in this manner, serving as a catalyst for growth through the mirroring process. This evolutionary journey is an arduous yet inevitable path we all must navigate. Failure to confront and overcome our inner demons in this lifetime will only lead to further challenges in the next. To transcend and pass the test of life, we must awaken to these truths. However, our biggest obstacle lies in the misguided belief that we're entirely separate entities, leading us to react negatively to our reflections rather than recognizing them as aspects of ourselves or our own projections. Indeed, grasping and utilizing this understanding can be challenging, as the belief in separation is deeply ingrained in our systems. Spiritual growth and self-awareness are essential to comprehend this concept. Every relationship offers valuable lessons, and it's up to us to choose to see or ignore the reflections presented to us. I agree with you that any relationship has a lot to do with our inner self and teaches us about ourselves. The world we perceive is a reflection of our internal frame of reference, shaped by our deepest desires, convictions, and preferences. We project our inner world outside, and this process is ongoing. Therefore, our experiences are a direct reflection of who we are. If we embody bitterness and cynicism, we'll perceive a bitter and cynical world. Conversely, if we radiate kindness and love, we'll experience a kind and loving world. Awakening discernments. This understanding empowers us to take responsibility for our experiences and transform our lives. By recognizing that our outer world reflects our inner state, we can intentionally cultivate a more loving, compassionate, and joyful inner world. This, in turn, will manifest as a more harmonious and fulfilling external reality. It's essential to acknowledge that we are not passive observers but active creators of our experiences. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape our reality, and we have the power to choose how we want to experience life. By embracing this truth, we can break free from the limitations of our past conditioning and create a brighter, more loving future for ourselves and those around us. Healing is a crucial aspect of this journey, as it allows us to release the emotional baggage and limiting beliefs that distort our perceptions and create a reality that doesn't align with our true desires. By healing our inner wounds and traumas, we can let go of negative patterns and habits that attract toxic relationships and experiences. 28. 29. Develop self-love and self-acceptance, allowing us to radiate positivity and attract loving connections. Cultivate emotional intelligence, enabling us to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. Unlock our full potential, embracing our unique gifts and talents to live a purpose-driven life. Experience profound spiritual growth, deepening our connection with ourselves, others, and the universe. Healing is not a one-time event but a continuous process. It requires patience, self-compassion, and commitment. By prioritizing our healing, we can transform our lives and create a reality that reflects our highest aspirations. Remember, the world outside is a reflection of our inner world. By healing and loving ourselves, we can create a brighter, more loving world for all. Chapter 7. The Art of Letting Go of Attachments. Letting go can be a daunting and unsettling experience, even when we know it's the right decision. Our ego often resists change, seeking to maintain a sense of safety and comfort, even if it means stagnation. The ego's primary goal is self-preservation, not our happiness or growth. It fears loss and change, even if they're necessary for our evolution. This fear can lead to attachment to toxic relationships and routines, hindering us from taking bold steps towards transformation. Remember, the ego is a ghost that fears its own demise. New experiences and 29. 30. Changes threaten its existence, leading it to create illusions that keep us stuck. Embracing change requires courage and willingness to face discomfort, but it's essential for growth and reaching our goals. We must recognize the ego's limitations and be willing to take leaps of faith, even if it means stepping out of our comfort zone. The ego is afraid of the unknown and seeks comfort in reason. If personified, it would stand in the way of our decisions, asking, "What if you fail?" The best response is, to win some, you must lose some, acknowledging that growth requires sacrifice. The most crucial sacrifice is letting go of the ego itself. By releasing its grip, we can break free from the fear of failure and embrace the unknown, allowing us to make bold choices and take leaps of faith. Sacrificing the ego's need for control and certainty opens us up to new experiences, growth, and transformation. Letting go is a liberating process that allows us to release the burdens of our past, free ourselves from the grip of negative emotions, and embrace the present moment with clarity and purpose. As we surrender our attachments to what no longer serves us, we create space for new experiences, relationships, and opportunities to emerge. Like autumn leaves falling from the tree, letting go requires us to trust in the natural cycle of life, allowing what's no longer needed to wither away, making room for the beauty of what's yet to come. With each release, we grow lighter, freer, and more open to the possibilities that life has to offer. Here are some things you can do to let go. 1. Acknowledge and accept. Recognize the need to let go and accept the situation. 2. Identify attachments. Understand what you're holding onto and why. 3. Release emotions. Allow yourself to feel and process emotions, then release them. 4. Forgive. Let go of grudges and forgive yourself and others. 5. Surrender control. Accept that you can't control everything. 6. Practice mindfulness. Focus on the present moment. 7. Cultivate self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding. 8. Take responsibility. Acknowledge your role in the situation. 9. Create distance. Establish healthy boundaries. 10. Focus on the present. Embrace what is, rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. 30. 11. Seek support. Reach out to others for help and guidance. 31. 12. Practice gratitude. Focus on the good things in your life. 13. Let go of expectations. Release the need for specific outcomes. 14. Embrace change. View change as an opportunity for growth. 15. Cultivate self-awareness. Understand your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Remember, letting go is a process that takes time, patience, and effort. Be gentle with yourself and keep moving forward. What is ego? What is the ego? Asterisk. The ego refers to the part of our consciousness that identifies itself as the self, or I. It's the aspect of our mind that creates a sense of separation, distinction, and individuality. The ego is responsible for our perception of ourselves as unique entities, distinct from others in the world around us. Functions of the ego. 1. Identity formation. Asterisk. The ego helps create and maintain our sense of identity, including our beliefs, values, and memories. 2. Self-protection. Asterisk. The ego acts as a defense mechanism, protecting us from physical, emotional, and psychological harm. 3. Self-interest. Asterisk. The ego prioritizes our needs, desires, and interests, driving us to pursue goals and ambitions. 4. Comparison and competition. Asterisk. The ego constantly compares us to others, fostering competition and a sense of superiority or inferiority. Limitations and flaws of the ego. 1. Separation and isolation. Asterisk. The ego creates a sense of disconnection from others, leading to feelings of loneliness and isolation. 2. Fear and anxiety. Asterisk. The ego's focus on self-protection and self-preservation can generate excessive fear and anxiety. 31. 32. 3. Illusion of control. Asterisk. The ego believes it has control over our lives, leading to resistance to change and difficulty in adapting to new situations. 4. Distorted perception. Asterisk. The ego's biases and filters can distort our perception of reality, leading to misunderstandings and misinterpretations. Spiritual perspective on the ego. In spiritual traditions, the ego is often seen as a barrier to true self-realization and enlightenment. The ego's attachment to the material world, desires, and individuality is believed to prevent us from experiencing our true nature, which is often described as interconnected, timeless, and boundless. Transcending the ego. To transcend the ego means to move beyond its limitations and flaws, cultivating a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. This can involve practices such as 1. Mindfulness and meditation. Asterisk. Quieting the ego's constant chatter and cultivating awareness of the present moment by practicing meditation. 2. Self-inquiry. Asterisk. Examining our beliefs, values, and motivations to gain insight into the ego's workings. 3. Compassion and empathy. Asterisk. Developing understanding and connection with others, recognizing our shared humanity. 4. Letting go. Asterisk. Releasing attachment to ego-driven desires, fears, and beliefs, embracing change and uncertainty. By understanding the ego's role and limitations, we can begin to transcend its constraints, embracing a more authentic, compassionate, and interconnected way of being. Letting go of the ego. The ego is like a pack of fiercely loyal guard dogs we've bred and trained to protect our inner sanctum. Initially, they serve as loyal sentinels, safeguarding our vulnerabilities. However, over time, they can become overly aggressive, restricting our freedom and making us fearful of venturing beyond the confines of our own making. To break free, we must recognize the ego's overreach, calm its ferocity through self-reflection and mindfulness, and gradually release its grip on our lives. Only then can we unlock the gates, explore new horizons, and discover the world beyond the walls we've built around ourselves. 32. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you let go of the ego. 33. 1. Recognize the ego's control. Acknowledge how the ego has taken over, dictating your thoughts, emotions, and actions. 2. Identify the walls. Become aware of the self-imposed limitations, fears, and beliefs that confine you. 3. Tame the dog's ego. Practice mindfulness, meditation, and self-reflection to calm the ego's constant barking. 4. Unlock the gates. Challenge negative self-talk, reframe limiting beliefs, and develop a growth mindset. 5. Venture outside. Gradually step out of your comfort zone, embracing new experiences and taking calculated risks. 6. Release ownership. Understand that the ego is not yours to control, it's a fleeting aspect of your consciousness. 7. Embrace freedom. Celebrate your true nature, unencumbered by the ego's constraints, and find peace in the present moment. Remember, letting go of the ego is a journey, not a destination. Be patient, kind, and compassionate with yourself as you release the grip of those fierce dogs and discover the world beyond the walls. Letting go and getting over a past lover. When it comes to getting over someone, there can be a lot of advices in regard to distracting yourself, including keeping yourself busy getting back to the dating signals, and all of those are really just temporary distractions if they even work at all, because sometimes they can actually backfire on you. For example, you might go out on a date with someone new and all you can think about is how they cannot measure up to the person that you are still hung up on, or you go out to do something really fun for yourself and all you end up thinking about is how great it'll be if that person was there to share the experience with you. So these kinds of things which are meant to lift us up can sometimes end up bringing us down, and so no matter what we do we just can't seem to get this person out of our mind. So, what we have to understand is why are we still hung up on this person, because understanding that is what is going to help us to let go and move forward, and I'm not talking about the things we like about them, or the things we seem to be in common with, the potential of a relationship and so on. What I'm talking about specifically is hope. This person may have made it very clear that the 33, 34 relationship between you is over, or that they don't see you in a romantic sense anymore, or whatever the case may be. Whatever the reason is, we haven't accepted that. In our mind we imagine that perhaps in any given time they'll come around, or maybe they'll change their mind and they'll realize how wonderful you are and they'll come back to you. And so we carry this fantasy that hopefully one day or sooner than later you'll be together again, and it's that hope that keeps the fantasy alive in us. As long as that fantasy doesn't come true, we are going to be sad and disappointed and unable to enjoy life, and it's going to be very difficult to focus and function the way we normally would. And in my experience, both personal and as well as observing others, those fantasies could rarely ever come true. Example, I could be in love with someone who seemed to be a perfect match, to whom I have a lot in common with. We are really compatible, the time that we spend together is always fun and so very much fulfilling, and as far as I can tell we will make a perfect couple, but for some unknown reason, to me they are in love with someone else, or they just don't see me in a romantic sense, or we had a relationship for a while and for some reason they just weren't satisfied. As a result we ended up breaking up. So my perception of us having the potential of being a really amazing couple may not be entirely imaginary, it might be a very accurate nor realistic potential, but if the other person can't see that or has a different perspective or whatever the case, then it doesn't even matter. The fact of the matter is that for whatever the reason they've decided that we are not going to be together in that way, and so I have to accept that in spite of how amazing we might be together. The other person has chosen otherwise in hopes that maybe in any given time they'll come around and realize how wonderful our relationship would be if we were still together. Otherwise, if I'm still holding on to that hope, I won't be able to give my attention to my own life and all that I need to be doing for myself, and I end up getting stuck. In my experience, that person isn't really worth waiting for, or at least they'll never come back, and so it's a waste of time and energy waiting and hoping for them to come back. It can be really difficult to accept, but letting go of that hope can really be the only way that we can be able to move on with our lives. If it means that we have to mourn and cry our eyes out, then we must do that so that we can let go, because sometimes the advices that people often give us when we are dealing with that only encourages us to hold back our feelings and emotions. But I'm encouraging you that if you really feel those emotions, just allow yourself to feel them, go through them, and don't repress them. And something that I've come to realize in my life is that in order for a relationship to be healthy and successful, there need to be a mutual reciprocation of energy, and that begins at least with a mutual interest or appreciation for one another. So just a very fact alone that this person is not showing all these tells me that they are not really interested. Even if somehow I can convince them to give it a go, they are not going to be there because they really want to be there, but they are going to do it because they feel pity for me, and it's not going to be authentic nor ultimately, so it's not going to work. 34. 35. So, basically I'm not going to chase after them and beg them to give me a chance, because the way I see it is that they've had their chance to be with me, but for some unknown reason they decided to end the relationship. And one of the things we often get hung up on is what if this person is the one we were meant to be with? And we might not ever meet someone better suited. All I'm saying is don't forget that there are 7.5 billion people in the world and you've only met a very tiny fraction of them. Do you really think there is no one else out there better suited for you? Because the reality is that no matter how perfectly matched someone might seem, there are always going to be areas where you don't match up, and there are so many other people who will be just as close a match and potentially even better. Just because you haven't met them doesn't mean they are not out there. Another thing I've come to learn in life is the fact that if there is someone out there better suited to me, I won't meet that person or be open to connecting with them as long as I'm still hung up on someone else. It's really interesting how that works, because if I'm still hung up on someone else, it is as if I've closed myself off from the possibility of meeting someone better, and the world seemed to reflect my belief that there is no one better suited to me. But whenever I've gotten over someone and moved on with my life to the point of not even particularly looking for anything or anyone, someone new shows up and they are usually a way better match than the last person, not in a sense of comparison but to be precise, at least in regard to where I am in my life in that moment. I may not even recognize how amazing this current person is if I'm still hung up on the previous one, and that will hugely affect our connection or rather inhibit it. So the reality is that there really are so many other fiancés, but you have to open yourself up to that, and you can't do that as long as you are still holding on to your past. Awakening discernments. So, as difficult as it may seem, the best way to get over this person is to let go of that hope and accept fully that it's over and they are not coming back. It's done because the reality is, they've made their decision and we have to accept that they are not likely to change their mind about it. If they've never specified the reason for leaving you, it's okay, that's not for you to worry about. Who knows, maybe they are now actually beginning to acknowledge the fact that you are way too out of their league, which means that it may happen that the problem isn't necessarily with you, but with them, and they are only afraid to come clean. So don't follow them trying to find out, because maybe they may be having really ugly or unpleasant reasons for leaving you that may even do you harm in the long run. So the idea of choosing not to know can save you from a lot of breakdowns, trust me. It really isn't easy, I know, but I assure you it's worth a shot to take, because even if they think the problem is with you, the truth is, it is really their problem that they don't see you in a romantic sense, not yours. You should even be thankful for the fact that they were the ones who were able to see that before. 35. 36. You actually did, because maybe you weren't going to be able to handle it quite well, and it would mean you are the one to be blamed. So you see how this may work in your favor. Done correctly, be prepared for unprecedented opportunities of new genuine love. Love illusions are no joke. Sometimes we stick around for as long as we hear the word love coming from the other person. When people tell us they love us, we become so blinded that we don't even see the core truth behind these words, and we become so attached that we even go as far as saying we cannot live without them. We tend to forget that these are just words, and words are easier said than done. Another important thing to consider is the fact that we don't own each other. Chapter 8. Wisdom. What is wisdom? There are myriad ways to describe and demystify the concept of wisdom, a notion that has captivated human imagination across cultures and centuries. Wisdom's essence can be approached from various angles, each offering a unique perspective on its nature and significance. Whether viewed as a guiding principle, a timeless truth, or a hard-won insight, wisdom remains a multifaceted and dynamic concept that continues to inspire and intrigue us. Wisdom is the catalyst that simplifies life's complexities, offering guidance and empowerment through insightful words and actions. At its core, wisdom is the discerning application of knowledge, harnessing it for the greater good of humanity. It's the intuitive ability to navigate. 36. 37. Life's challenges with clarity, compassion, and foresight, ultimately enriching our individual and collective experiences. Let's demystify wisdom by breaking it down into its core components. Demystifying wisdom, path to clarity. Wisdom is often shrouded in mystery, seen as an elusive and intangible quality possessed by only a select few. However, what if I told you that wisdom is more accessible than you think? At its core, wisdom consists of three key elements. 1. Knowledge, the acquisition of information, facts, and data. 2. Experience, the practical application of knowledge in real-world situations. 3. Insight, the ability to discern patterns, connections, and meaning from knowledge and experience. By combining these elements, we can develop a deeper understanding of wisdom and how it can be cultivated in our own lives. Let's dive deeper into the concept of knowledge as a foundation of wisdom. Knowledge is the bedrock upon which wisdom is built. It encompasses the acquisition, organization, and retention of information, facts, and data. Knowledge can be categorized into various types, including 1. Factual knowledge verifiable information about the world, such as historical events, scientific principles, or cultural norms. 2. Procedural knowledge understanding of procedures, methods, and techniques, like problem-solving strategies or skill-based expertise. 38. 3. Conceptual knowledge comprehension of abstract concepts, theories, and frameworks, such as philosophical ideas or theoretical models. 4. Experiential knowledge personal experiences, insights, and intuition gained through direct participation or observation. The acquisition of knowledge involves various processes, including 1. Learning formal education, training, or self-study. 2. Research systematic investigation and analysis of information. 3. Exploration active discovery and experimentation. 4. Reflection critical thinking and 5. Resilience and perseverance, developing coping mechanisms, overcoming obstacles, and persisting through challenges contemplation. As we accumulate knowledge, we begin to see connections, patterns, and relationships between ideas, fostering a deeper understanding of the world and ourselves. This, in turn, lays the groundwork for the development of wisdom. As we begin to wake up from the game of life, we start to realize that many things aren't as they seem. We've been conditioned to believe in a certain reality, but as we ponder and seek knowledge, we start to uncover the truth. We may stumble upon wisdom, often subtly and quietly, as it empowers and encourages us to understand and accept the situation as it is, even if we now see beyond the facade. Wisdom doesn't necessarily challenge the system, instead, it offers a deeper understanding, allowing us to navigate the complexities of life with clarity and insight. Often, it's during a spiritual awakening that we're introduced to the concept of wisdom. As we embark on this journey, we begin to see the world with new eyes, and wisdom starts to make sense in a way that it didn't before. Those who haven't yet started this journey may accept life at face value, without questioning the bigger picture. They may believe everything they see is their own truth, unaware that this is just an illusion. But as we awaken, wisdom reveals itself, affirming that this reality is merely a construct, designed to help us expand our consciousness and grow. As we progress on our spiritual journey, we become acquainted with profound concepts that reveal the intricacies of life. Synchronicities, parallel realities, meditation, the law of attraction, and the law of karma and many more, offer us a deeper understanding of the universe and our place within it. These principles provide clarity on the workings of life, allowing us to navigate its complexities with greater awareness and purpose. 38. 39. Our finite minds may lead us to believe that life's journey ends with the demise of our physical form. Yet, wisdom whispers a secret: life is an eternal tapestry, woven from the threads of countless experiences. While our bodies may succumb to mortality, our souls remain timeless and ageless, having witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, and continuing to evolve and grow through the ages. Through the practice of meditation, you may discover a profound influx of insights and downloads. By quieting the mind, you can tap into a wealth of valuable knowledge and aspects that can guide you through life's journey with greater ease and profundity. This process ultimately leads back to wisdom, which can only be accessed when we are authentic and genuine. Authenticity is the key to unlocking wisdom, as it allows us to resonate with and retain the insights that emerge from the stillness of our minds. To illustrate this concept simply, consider that as human beings, we've been conditioned to believe that external events are beyond our control. However, wisdom, as revealed in the Law of Reflection, Chapter 6, subtly yet profoundly teaches us that we can only experience what is within us. This means that what we perceive outside of ourselves is, in fact, a reflection of our inner world. Wisdom encourages us to embrace this truth, even when it challenges our conventional beliefs. By acknowledging that the external is a mirror of the internal, we can begin to take ownership of our experiences and recognize the power that lies within us. Here's are some wisdom phenomenons anecdote. Flow, don't force. A river doesn't react to the stones that fall into it, yet it responds by flowing around them, creating a new path. So too can we learn to navigate life's obstacles with gentle strength, flowing around challenges rather than trying to force our way through them. The art of yielding. In the dance of life, may we learn to yield like a willow tree in the wind, bending yet unbroken. For in surrendering to the moment, we find the strength to respond, not react. 39. 40. Be like water, Water adapts, yet remains unchangeable. It flows, yet carves its own path. It yields, yet overcomes. May we embody the wisdom of water, embracing flexibility, resilience, and the power of gentle persistence. Bruce Lee. The lotus flower, Like the lotus flower, which blooms in muddy waters yet remains unsoiled, may we rise above our challenges and emerge radiant and untouched. Buddha. The tree's resilience, A tree that is unbending is easily broken. May we learn to flex like the willow, yielding to the winds of change yet remaining strong. Lao Tzu. The mountain's endurance, The mountain does not worry about the snow that falls upon it. May we learn to endure the storms of life with equanimity and strength. Zen proverb. The river's journey, The river does not struggle to reach its destination. It flows effortlessly, carving its own path. May we learn to trust in the natural unfolding of life. Paulo Coelho. 40. 41. The butterfly's transformation, Just as the caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, may we embrace the transformations in our lives, knowing that they lead to new beauty and freedom. The potter's wheel, Just as the potter's wheel must keep spinning to shape the clay, our minds must stay engaged to shape our thoughts. For in the stillness of the wheel, the clay becomes misshapen, and in the stillness of the mind, worries and doubts take hold. May we keep ourselves busy, not to escape, but to create, to shape, and to mold our lives into masterpieces. Ace the Messenger. These anecdotes can indeed serve as catalysts for introspection, self-awareness, and personal growth, helping us awaken to the significance of authenticity and living an authentic life. Let's dive into the experience aspect of wisdom. The importance of applying knowledge in real life. Applying knowledge in real-life situations is the crucible where wisdom is forged. It's the difference between merely knowing and truly understanding. When we put our knowledge into practice, we transform theoretical concepts into tangible skills, refine our problem-solving abilities, and develop the confidence that comes from seeing our understanding manifest in the world. By applying what we've learned, we turn abstract ideas into concrete experiences, foster personal growth, and cultivate the emotional intelligence that enables us to navigate complex social landscapes. Ultimately, applying knowledge is the key to unlocking its true potential, allowing us to transcend mere intellectual comprehension and embody the wisdom that only comes from lived experience. 41. 42. The concept of wisdom can be doubted if not fully grasped, requiring us to put it into action to truly understand its validity. After acquiring knowledge, it's crucial to apply what we've learned in real-life situations to experience its effectiveness firsthand. By doing so, we can gain a deeper understanding of what works and what doesn't, leading to a greater sense of fulfillment and clarity on what is truly right or wrong. Here are some profound ways in which you can gain experience. 1. Practical application. How knowledge is applied in real-world situations, leading to tangible outcomes and lessons learned. 2. Trial and error. The process of experimentation, taking risks, and learning from failures and successes. 3. Emotional intelligence. Developing self-awareness, empathy, and social skills through personal experiences and relationships. 4. Contextual understanding. Gaining a deeper understanding of situations, people, and environments through direct involvement. 5. Reflection and adaptation. Learning from experiences, adjusting approaches, and refining decision-making. 6. Mentorship and guidance. Seeking wisdom from experienced individuals, learning from their journeys, and applying their insights. 7. Mindfulness and presence. Being fully engaged in experiences, observing details, and appreciating the present moment. These aspects of experience can help shape our understanding of wisdom and how it's cultivated through lived experiences. This book can be a valuable resource for wisdom, offering insights and discernments that encourage readers to learn, reflect, and apply the principles in their own lives. By putting these wisdom teachings into action, readers can transform their understanding into practical wisdom, leading to personal growth, self-awareness, and a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. The ultimate goal is to use wisdom to improve our lives and become better versions of ourselves. By applying these insights, we can cultivate a more authentic, compassionate, and meaningful existence, leading to a more fulfilling life. 42. 43. This reminds me of the ancient Greek concept of phronesis, which refers to the practical application of wisdom, or the ability to translate knowledge into action. This book can be seen as a guide for developing phronesis, helping readers to bridge the gap between theoretical understanding and real-world application. Another way to explore the concept of experience is through teaching others. When we share our knowledge with others, it can be a beneficial experience for both the teacher and the learner. This aligns with the law of one, which emphasizes the importance of serving others rather than just ourselves. By teaching others, we not only help them learn but also reinforce our own understanding and gain new insights. In essence, teaching becomes a powerful way to learn and gain experience, as it allows us to apply our knowledge in a practical way while serving others. I have highlighted the significance of teaching as a means of applying knowledge, learning, and gaining experience. This approach not only benefits the learner but also the teacher, as it 1. Reinforces understanding. 2. Provides new insights. 3. Applies knowledge practically. 4. Serves others, aligning with the law of one. Teaching others can indeed be a powerful way to deepen our own understanding and gain valuable experience. Now let's dive deep into the insight aspect of wisdom. Having insight does not necessarily mean you have reached the level of mastery. Insight is an important aspect of mastery, but it's not the only factor. Insight refers to the ability to gain a deep understanding of a situation, concept, or problem. It's the capacity to see beyond the surface level and grasp the underlying dynamics. Mastery, on the other hand, involves a broader range of skills, knowledge, and experiences. A master has typically 1. Developed a high level of proficiency in their domain. 43. 2. Integrated their knowledge and skills through extensive practice. 44. 3. Cultivated expertise in multiple areas. 4. Demonstrated consistent excellence in their performance. 5. Developed a deep understanding of the underlying principles and nuances. While insight is an essential component of mastery, not everyone with insight has reached mastery. However, mastery often requires a high degree of insight. Being insightful indeed means having a deeper understanding of situations, which enables you to approach them with a more informed, thoughtful, and effective mindset. When you have insight, you're able to 1. See beyond the surface level. 2. Understand the underlying dynamics and connections. 3. Recognize patterns in relationships. 4. Anticipate potential outcomes and consequences. 5. Develop creative and innovative solutions. Having a deeper understanding leads to a more profound and healthy approach to any situation. Insightful individuals can navigate complex situations more effectively, make better decisions, and cultivate stronger relationships. Do you recall the example about Sandra in Chapter 6? It's a great illustration of how wisdom can help us recognize that sometimes, the issues we face in our relationships or experiences are not necessarily about the other person, but rather about unresolved issues within ourselves. In Sandra's case, she may have thought that her ex-boyfriend was the problem, but ultimately, she found herself in a similar relationship with someone else. This suggests that there are underlying patterns or unresolved issues within Sandra that need to be addressed. This is a classic example of how wisdom can help us shift our perspective from blaming external circumstances or others to looking inward and taking responsibility for our own growth and healing. By recognizing that the issue lies within, Sandra can begin to 1. Identify and confront her own unresolved issues. 44. 2. Work on personal growth and self-awareness. 45. 3. Develop healthier relationship patterns. 4. Break free from toxic cycles. 5. Cultivate more fulfilling connections with others. This process requires self-reflection, honesty, and a willingness to confront one's own flaws and weaknesses. Wisdom guides us to look within and address the root causes of our struggles, leading to greater personal growth and transformation. This statement reminds me of the concept of situated knowledge, understanding that is rooted in context and experience. Insightful people have situated knowledge, which enables them to respond appropriately to various situations. Being insightful indeed teaches us to be easy on ourselves and on people, to approach them with empathy and understanding, and to recognize that everyone has their unique perspectives and perceptions. When we embrace wisdom, we come to understand that 1. People have different vantage points and experiences. 2. Our perceptions are shaped by our individual backgrounds, beliefs, and biases. 3. No one has a monopoly on truth or understanding. 4. Forced perspectives can lead to conflict and division. 5. Embracing diverse perspectives fosters growth, learning, and connection. By recognizing these principles, we can cultivate a more compassionate and inclusive approach to relationships and communication. We learn to 1. Listen actively and try to understand others' viewpoints. 2. Avoid imposing our own beliefs or expectations on others. 3. Appreciate the value of diverse perspectives and experiences. 4. Seek common ground and find ways to build bridges. 5. Practice empathy and understanding, even when we disagree. 45. 46. Wisdom teaches us to approach others with kindness, humility, and an open mind, acknowledging that our own perceptions are not the only valid ones. This leads to more harmonious relationships, personal growth, and a deeper understanding of the world around us. Conclusion. As we conclude this journey into the depths of love, we're reminded that true wisdom lies in embracing its authenticity. Love is not a possession, a demand, or an expectation, it's a liberation, a surrender, and a gift. Yet, our societal conditioning, past experiences, and ego's attachments often hinder us from recognizing and embracing love's true essence. As we've explored throughout this book, the illusions of control, possessiveness, and attachment can distort our perception of love, leading to pain, suffering, and disconnection. However, by acknowledging and transcending these limitations, we can cultivate a more profound understanding of love, one that honors the autonomy, freedom, and uniqueness of ourselves and others. But here's the most important truth. We've been misled to believe that love is something we receive from others, rather than something we cultivate within ourselves. We've been taught to seek validation, happiness, and fulfillment outside of ourselves, rather than taking responsibility for our own inner world. 46. 47. It's time to recorrect this misconception. It's time to recognize that our true duty is not to others, but to ourselves. It's time to embark on a journey of self-discovery, to explore the depths of our own hearts, and to cultivate the beautiful, powerful love that lies within. By going within, we'll discover that love is not something we find, but something we become. We'll find that true love is not a feeling, but a choice to embrace our own worthiness, to honor our own boundaries, and to radiate kindness, compassion, and empathy to the world around us. May the insights shared in this book inspire you to take this journey of self-discovery, to reclaim your inner power, and to become the love you've been seeking all along. May you walk in wisdom, may you walk in love, and may you walk in the truth that sets you free. 47.